Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Joyful Breeze podcast. I am Sue Exner, also known as the Joyful Breeze. And one of the things that is near and dear to my heart is the customer experience. And I've worked in the customer experience industry for many years. And I truly believe that it's how you treat people. And I always want people to feel uplifted after they're around me. I want people to have a wow moment and to feel special. And there's so much negativity out in the world right now that it actually doesn't take that much to make someone feel special. But yet I don't feel we do it as much as we possibly could. There's a lot of opportunity to do more. And somebody that had a positive impact on me, and again, this is my way of kind of expressing and sharing those positive impacts, is this gentleman right here. So Shaun, he is the CEO of Agrivision. And the first time I met Shaun, he worked at Real at the time. And I was planning my 50th birthday party. And I had booked the AGT Lounge, and you had asked me how it was going. And we were in a meeting, I think Chris was there too. And because I didn't know you yet, I was like, I don't know how open should I be here? And Chris said, no, like tell him whatever you would tell me, tell Shaun. And so I did. And I said, I don't know if I'm really happy with the level of service I'm getting. And I kind of expressed a few things. And then I said, like, if you're charging Tiffany prices, I expect Tiffany service. And you had definitely welcomed the feedback, and you were curious, asked me some questions, and we kind of left it as it is at that point. And then in a couple of weeks' times, you had reached out to me and you said, Sue, I got it. And I was like, you got it. Okay, what do you got? And one of the things that I had asked for was an image to be put up on the screens in AGT Lounge, because I know there's TVs on the pillars. And I was told no. I couldn't do that. And then I was also asked, because it's 50, I wanted to create a special moment for not just myself, but for my friends. And I wanted to go down onto, the field on the 50-yard line and have our picture taken. And I was told no. And I was so disappointed, because I was like, I was really looking forward to that. And when you called me and said you got it, you met me actually at the stadium the day of my party. Like, we were setting up, you met and you said, I think you even gave me a bottle of wine or something too. Like, it was bottled wine, I think you gave me, which still surprised me. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy really gets it. And when we walked into the room to set up, I saw the image up on the screens. But then my sister looked over and she's like, holy crap, look at outside. It's on the Jumbotron. And I was like, oh my God, it's on the Jumbotron. And it was on every screen in the stadium. Like, yeah, it was on every screen on the stadium. It was insane. I was like, wow. Like, it takes a lot to wow me, because I do have a high level of in terms of that bar of customer experience. This wowed me. And then when it came time to taking our picture, you made it happen. And we were able to go down onto the field and create this special moment. So all my friends that were turning 50 that year, we got to, do a little jump on the 50-yard line. And so it wasn't just creating a wow moment for me. You were enabling me to create a wow moment for my friends. And that is priceless. Like that MasterCard commercial, that is priceless. So that's why you're here today, is first of all, to let me tell you the positive impact that you had on me and my friends.
Oh, thank you.
But also for the fact that I know you get it. And sometimes when we say, people get it, like, you understand that customer experience interaction and the importance behind having that customer feel seen and heard. Because that's what I felt. I felt seen and I felt heard. So I just wanted to have a little chit chat with you today to talk about your sort of philosophy and your background when it comes to the customer experience, and how did you get to the point of getting it?
Well, I think we live in a society where it's so easy to say no. It takes less work to say no. It's very easy. We're all in a busy society. People have things to do. And I think it's just very easy to just dismiss and say we can't do that, instead of trying to go that extra mile. But just trying to leave people. And again, I think we also live in a society where I think we have a hard time separating people from business again. Like, I think people see you as your FCC Sue, and that's who you are. And but like, Sue's also got friends and family, and Sue's a person who likes to have a glass of wine after work. Like there's a different side of people, and
Right.
just trying to leave people again, just going, that was awesome. You know what I mean? Like I would want the same thing. So
Mhm.
it's just trying to empower some people to be able to make some decisions, and again, let's have a little bit of fun. And again, it's 50, so how do we deliver that moment where people leave going, that was that was really special. So that's something that we really strive to do.
Mhm.
So
And I think that, what I've learned over the years too is I'm an ideator, and I come up with ideas very quickly. And what I've learned is there's some people that don't, like they don't think outside that box. They don't have that vision. And so I think what stood out to me is like, as a customer, I was coming and laying out all these ideas. Here, what if we do this, do this, do this? But the uptake wasn't necessarily there. And I think, it could be they've never experienced this before.
yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we take for granted. I worked at the Pats for a long time, and even that we use at Agribition, like to take a young kid down and be able to high five the Pats. Like those are things that they don't forget. Like we walk by the Pats players all the time at that point as they're heading to the ice. It's just something you take for granted, but there's just experiences that people never get to experience. And we got to work and look out at Mosaic Stadium. Like that was just, you've seen it every day.
Yeah.
Our team was in there. And same as Agribition. We've got grown adults that we get to take down to watch bull riding from beside the chutes. Like people get hit in the face with dirt. It happens to us every day,
Right.
every day. But there's just, again, you've got grown adults who go, I've never experienced this before, and this is incredible. Like, so just things to not take for granted for and empower some people. But again, treating people like people, like let's.
And just by doing that, like it's funny when you said, taking adults in and stuff. Like my brother-in-law, who's actually turning 60 this year, and this was 3 years ago. He was 57, I guess, at the time. When he came down to the field with us that night for that picture, but he said he came over to me. He goes, "I really just want to run across the field." And I said, well, do it. Like, go for it. And he did. He went running across the field. And so a 57-year-old male adult was a little kid in that moment. And it like you can't replace that. That was an experience that he'll never have again, right? And that was because of you.
But again, I mean, you've talked as well lots. Again, just treating people like people. So again, you're going to have the tough conversations in business or whether that's life, but if you're coming from a place of genuineness and authenticity, like at the end of the day, like me and you might have the tough conversations as Agribition and FCC, but at the end of the day, we're still going home to friends and family. Like we don't, like, I think we need to start separating people a little bit from it. And again, I'm not attacking you or you're not attacking me. Let's talk and how do we come from a place of genuineness and to, again, you've got obstacles or you've got things you need to achieve, and so do I. And how do we just, again, use the human element a little bit more?
Yeah. So with Agribition then, you tell me more about some of the activations that you've brought in from a customer experience standpoint that you've thought, hey, let's try this. Like running with the bulls kind of comes to mind. But tell me a little bit like what your thought process is. How do you think about the activation and then how it's going to impact the customer experience? Because when it comes to Agribition, like what people don't realize is the impact that Agribition has on the city of Regina.
Yeah, and I got to give our team a little bit of credit because they put up with some wild ideas. I can't take the running with the bulls idea. That was, I believe, I'm not sure if it was Marty and Chris or if it was Chris.
I think it was Chris. Yeah.
Like again, give those guys kudos because even we went and watched. But again, using some of that experience, I was a couple months in and we pulled off getting some Yellowstone actors here.
Yeah, Yellowstone.
So we brought those guys in. The next year we wanted to try and, to your point, trying to create something really special. So we did the Taylor Swift experience. But we didn't want to do Toronto or somewhere that was unique. So we had over 1,500 applicants who had to send in videos and talk about why that they would be the ultimate Taylor Swift fan. So we did that. We ended up sending somebody on the floor in Australia. So we sent them on. So we sent them on that, a bit of an experience. But I forget the exact total of it. But I think that I want to say that the winner had almost 60 days worth of Taylor Swift music that she had listened to in a year, which is incredible.
Wow.
So it was. It's a wild, wild number. I probably got the number wrong, but it's one that would floor you. But just how do you leave that person going, Agribition gave us that experience?
Right.
And still just standing on the dirt or,
Yeah.
kind of coming down, just trying to think of different things that leave people with that was awesome.
Yeah.
Especially today, we really respect that, disposable income it's tough. There's a lot of people fighting for it. Like, there's the riders are fighting for it, Reel's fighting for it, the Pats, and that's just in the parking lot that we're in. So we've really tried to keep things affordable. We value the fact, that we are once a year, and we're right before Christmas, and people, they've got meals to provide, they've got presents that they need for kids and all of that. So we try and be very genuine in our offerings, but again, just leaving people with that. How do we do that wow with them with the biggest bang?
Yeah. And I would say too with Agribition, like, so I've, been to Agribition a number of times. And, sometimes people refer to Agribition as a trade show. And I actually don't think it's a trade show. It's an event. Like trade show or Agribition is an event with a trade show component, obviously, but it is an event and an experience, because even during the day of Agribition, like, yes, you have the vendors and the booths, that sort of thing. But then in the night, it turns into the rodeo, and there's so many other activities that are going on during Agribition. And so if you haven't been to Agribition, I highly recommend that you go this year, because it's an amazing experience. And the shopping, I have to say, like the lifestyle section, you get some really, really awesome things in there. Like some of the things I bought there in the past, like it's been interesting. I read here that, so in terms of tourism, just so that people understand what Agribition contributes to the city of Regina, so it contributes up to $116.5 million in economic impact and nearly 1,000 jobs.
So as you look at that, it's actually quite incredible. And I think that we get guilty of Agribition, the city gets busy, there's cows, there's rodeo, I think we really segment it. But using that event, it is absolutely incredible. Reel's the largest interconnected event facility in Canada. I believe their economic impact is around $295 million. So we're over a third of their economic impact. We run for 6 days, and we happen every single year. That's comparable to Grey Cup numbers, and that is every single November. But what we've really been challenged with is, how do we really not lose our roots? Again, it is expensive for some of our livestock producers to be here and our trade show people to be here. So again, how do we make sure that, business continues to get done? How do we make sure our trade show vendors see the traffic? But again, especially for our livestock producers, we're leaving for Scotland here in 2 weeks to try and recruit some more incoming buyers and promote the show. In terms of international component, this show would rank top 3 in the world, if not number 1.
Wow.
Just in terms of pure business that is getting done, there's millions and millions of dollars getting spent right here in Regina every November. And again, when you're getting calls from restaurants saying, thank you, we've hit record sales this week, that really means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Especially as you come out of a pandemic, and, that entertainment and event industry was really rocked. Mm-hmm. So when people, and our event can help contribute to their success, something that we take a lot of pride in and not something we take for granted.
And I think too, like with this, sort of this new founded Canadian pride, is for people to remember, like it does get busy during Agribition, but I would like to look at it from, wow, like Canada is on the map right now, and people are coming here from all over the world. It's not just Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta. It's all over the world that people are coming. And you're representing not just Saskatchewan, but you're representing Canada at this event.
Yeah, and just in terms of just buyer countries of people just coming to buy cattle, not just even coming to visit, we had over 25 countries come from around the world just to come and look and buy cattle. Those are registered buyers that checked in. So with the data, but in a society where I think it gets very easy to be negative, I got to give credit to Mayor Bashinsky and, Josh Stewart Van Dusen with what they did with that Good Morning Project recently.
Yeah, I participated in that.
Yeah, getting more positivity. I know that does get busy during Agribition. Again, there is going to be some lineups. You are going to wait. It is what it is, and I wish that we could speed some things up. But again, the mass amount of people coming through the gates, it's good for our city. It's good for our province. It's incorporating dollars back into the city and keeping people employed. It's a very important event. And I think that sometimes we forget.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy to look at the lineups, but once you get in, we're trying to keep it very affordable. We've got Mondays free for people to come in and experience. If you're coming to the rodeo, Wednesdays free. So if you're on a budget, we're trying to keep things very affordable affordable. So
Mhm.
you can see Agribition, the rodeo, and the trade show for both on 2 separate days for $0.
Yeah.
So I think that that's important, and then we can't do without the support of our community. And it's something that we're very,
Mhm.
very appreciative of.
Now, I know you're an ideas guy too. Like we've had conversations and we'll spitball ideas and, back and forth, that sort of thing. So question for you is, if you could do anything for Agribition without there's no strings, there's no limitations, what would be the one thing you'd want to sort of introduce at Agribition this year if you could do anything?
Well, if I could do absolutely anything, I'd love to be able to just wheel a stage in. And again, when you talk about that wow moment, I wanted to do, it's something I've always wanted to do, but the budget's definitely a concern on this one. But to just be able to wheel a stage in and, have someone like a Garth Brooks, and again, we're talking anything.
Hey, just put it out to the universe.
Like those
right?
things when you buy a ticket and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, you're expecting a DJ or something to come on after the event, but that, holy cow, I bought this ticket and had this wild experience.
Yeah.
We've always had the idea, just of having a stage pop up, not promoting it, kind of like the Garth Brooks Central Park thing and see who shows up. But, just to have a little bit of fun.
Love it. When I was in Vegas, we went there for our 40th birthday. And we actually went for Madonna. She was performing on the Sunday night. And on the Saturday night, the group of friends, we went to Fremont Street. And Bret Michaels was putting on a free concert. And it wasn't announced. It wasn't promoted. It was just Bret Michaels was putting on a concert. We're like, what? It was the best time. And we had so much fun. And then the next night we went to Madonna and we were so disappointed. Like, we were like, oh, like it wasn't good at all. Like, I was like, I'll go back to Bret Michaels in a heartbeat. So the fact that you would want to surprise somebody, like those attendees with an artist of some sort that they're not expected, because that's the thing. It's when they're not expecting it.
Yeah.
That's when it has even more impact, right?
Well,
okay, we need to make this happen, people. Garth Brooks, come take a vision.
Well, yeah, it's those things that when you get the text being like, you need to be here and you actually can't be there.
Yeah.
Like it's just creating that wow moment of the Instagrammable moment going, wow. So,
yeah.
Again, those are the kind of things that we'd love to be able to do.
Yeah.
Again, budgets are concerns, but how do we still do that in day-to-day life and whatnot? But again, I think just getting back to some positivity and having some fun.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing is that you can we can dream big and we can have these wishes, right? And I totally believe in them. I'm a big dreamer too. But it's also, you can have impact on the little day-to-day things and still create those bigger impacts, but it may not be as big and wow in that moment. But like to my point, in terms of my birthday, 3 years later, and I'm still talking about it.
Well, and the funny thing about it is like it doesn't cost us anything. And if it does, it's incremental. Yeah. So for us to be able to scan a pass and walk somebody down onto the field, like for us, that's 10 minutes out of our day. But for you, that's, what's that, a couple of years ago? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and we're still talking about it today. Like it's not just, again, not forgetting that people are still people.
People are still
60-year-old people want to run on the field.
Yeah.
Like you still have that kid element in it. And again, like I keep going back to that good morning. I gave Josh full kudos. Like watching people come together in terms of positivity, I think is very special. And again, we live in a society where people can get loud and get negative. So when you can celebrate the positive, I think we need a lot more of that.
Yeah. And I heard that on the radio, and I did a post on my Instagram on the Joyful Breeze, because that's what Be the Breeze is all about. That my hashtag Be the Breeze. It's uplifting others with positivity. And it doesn't take much. Like it's a simple good morning and just say good morning to people. And so I loved that initiative. I thought I jumped on that one right away. And even if you watch my Instagram, I didn't want to creep people out because I didn't want to record people, but like I pressed record when I passed people on my walk and I'd say, good morning, just to tape, just to prove that I was saying good morning to people. And, some people say it back, some people don't. Like some people aren't morning people, but you never know whose day you're going to brighten just by acknowledging them. And that's, I think, the importance of saying good morning, right? So, okay, we're going to end with a little bit of, sorry, and I keep tapping this. Sorry, EJ. Some rapid fire on what makes a great customer experience. So 1-word answers. So people have had a hard time with 1-word answers. You don't need an explanation, just a 1 word. What's 1 word that screams awesome customer experience?
Wow.
Should companies wait for you to complain or surprise you before?
Surprise you before.
100%. Do you have a favorite brand that always nails customer service?
Colin O'Brien's.
Why? Sorry, I know it's not one word answer, but why?
No, like I think that, again, they all know that their stuff's not the cheapest, but if I called them today and I said, I'm looking at this blazer, what would it go with? They would know the shirts that are in my closet. They would know my neck size, and they would know what to pair it with. They just, again, go above and beyond. To our point of the Good Morning Project, again, it's the morning, how are you? And it's a handshake, and it's a welcome in, what can I help you with?
Wow.
And it's genuine, and it's not, I mean, again, there's $1,000 suits in there, a couple $1,000 suits, but they don't make it seem like you can't afford anything.
Right.
They still give you the time of day. Like, you know, I got to give full marks to them. I think they do a fantastic job.
That's a huge shout out to Colin O'Brien. So I've never shopped there.
Actually, the whole wardrobe's from them. So, and they did not endorse me in any
No
way.
endorsement. So
no, they're incredible.
Okay, that's good to know. Blake is graduating next year, so I'll head over there
Highly
for a suit. What's one thing companies should just stop doing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think being something that they're not.
Being something that
you're again, I don't want to get into the explaining, but we use it at Agribition all the time. If I come and recruit you to come and work for us, you're going to get the hard truth. Here's what you can expect. Here's who we are, what we are.
Yeah.
The last thing I want you to do is when you start with us to go, well, that's not the culture you portray. That's not who you are.
You don't want to be misled.
You're selling a bill of goods that you aren't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Be bold or stay safe.
Be bold.
Nice. I like it. And that's why I think you and I click, because we're both idea people. We both care about the customer experience and to have fun, because life is supposed to be fun and we should have some fun.
If you can't laugh at work, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Life's too serious.
Yeah. And I just had a conversation like earlier that, you can still be professional and have fun at work. Like, when did that stop happening? Right.
Agreed.
And so we need, I don't know, maybe my mission is to bring that back, have fun at work. Right. So anyways, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, please send me a message or put something in the comments. And remember, be the breeze, uplift others with positivity.